All right, let's try this again. So, Gabby, what's your thought?
Numbers.
Where's my paper? Which ones did you think?
The ones that have numbers.
Okay, so you would say A would be a polynomial function, and she is exactly right. A is a polynomial function, so it's a yes. And then I'd like you to make a little note over to the side and say its degree is 2, because that's the highest power in the problem. Okay, so if somebody says to you, what's the degree? You would look at problem A and say the degree is 2. Now I'm going to look straight across the aisle and I see problem E. Is it a polynomial function?
No.
E. I'm looking at
Yes.
E. E is a yes, and its degree is 3. No, the degree is 3.
Gotcha.
The degree is the exponent. Okay? So letter E is a yes, and the degree is 3. Okay? Now, B is a no. Does anybody have an idea about why it would be a no?
Negative.
Negative exponent. So polynomial functions cannot have negative exponents. Okay, you might want to make a note of that. Polynomial functions cannot have negative exponents. C is a no. C is a no because it has a variable in the denominator, not allowed. If you're going to be a polynomial function, you cannot have a negative exponent and you cannot have a variable in the denominator. D. This is a tricky one. It is a polynomial function. It happens to have just one term, but it doesn't break any of the rules. Now, there's one more rule we haven't hit yet, but so far, what are our 2 rules? No negative exponents, no variable in the denominator. So it doesn't break those rules, so we're okay. Its degree, do you want to take a guess what its degree would be?
1.
Not 1.
0.
0. Its degree is 0. It doesn't have an x exponent, does it? Its degree is 0. That's problem D. All right, we already did E. F is a yes. What is its degree? 1. Its degree is 1. It's a yes. F is okay. G is not okay. What do you think is wrong with G? Fractional exponent not allowed. You cannot have negative exponents. You cannot have fractional exponents. H, not allowed. Any idea why? There's a variable under the radical. Now, please don't say there's a radical, because that's not the reason. There's a radical in number F, and it's okay. The reason H is not okay is there's a variable under the radical. If you're going to be a polynomial function, you can't have a negative exponent, you can't have a fractional exponent, you can't have a variable in the denominator, and you can't have a variable under the radical. Okay, so let me go through those rules one more time. If you're going to be a polynomial function, you can't have a negative exponent, you can't have a fractional exponent, you can't have a variable in the denominator, and you can't have a variable under the radical. Is that okay with everybody? All right, so we got that part taken care of. All right, number 2, write the equation of the linear function. Now, do not panic at those words. A linear function is just a line. So really what you are being asked to do is write the equation of the line. So we're on question 2 now, and we're going to write the equation of the line. Now, what have you been given? Let's see what you're doing, honey.
I had a hair on my shoulder.
You what? Somebody hit you? Nick?
No, I didn't hit anybody.
All right, what do you think this notation even means? What's going on here? What is this? Do you have any idea what this means?
I'm not sure. I'll have to plug into something.
It means if whatever the function is, and they didn't give me the rule, but if I plug in 2, I get 3. That's what this means. So in other words, if you let x be 2, the y, or the answer, turns out to be 3. So that's just a fancy way of writing an ordered pair. This is just a fancy way of saying 1, 5. Now, I don't want you ever to get those numbers turned around. Remember, when you write a function, it's f of x. F of x. So the x is the 2. F of is the x value. Okay? So this is 2, 3, that's 1, 5, and you're going to write the equation of the line. You've done this before. What does it take? What do we do? How do we write the equation of the line? We got to find the slope. So the slope would be y minus y over x minus x. So y minus y over x minus x. So what does that end up equaling? -2? All right, then what happens? You're not done. What? You can do it with slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. And we'll take our m, which we just figured out is -2. And we'll take our, oh, I don't care, pick a point. I'll pick 2, 3. Doesn't matter, either point. And I'll put the y in here and the x in here. Y equals mx. You know these 3 things. You have your slope because you found it. Now we're plugging in x and y. So 3 equals -4 plus b, and b equals 7. So your answer, y equals -2x plus 7. Now you have done that before lots of times. The only new part is the way the problem is written. All right, so I'm on new note sheets now. There we go. We are graduated to a new section.
Sweet.
Yep, it's a big deal. It's awesome. Okay, so we have our new note sheet starting with page 15, going all the way to 23. Wow, lots of stuff.
Need this one.
Here we go. You can do it, absolutely. Do this one. This same directions. We're writing the equation of the line. Now, of course, the directions have made it sound hard. Write the equation of the linear function, but that's the same thing as line. Write the equation of the line. So what do we do first, John? You remember? Yeah, the 2 ordered pairs. That's exactly right. So John, what would the 2 ordered pairs be? Yep. Those are my 2 ordered pairs. Everybody on board? Okay. S. Speckman. What's the next thing I do?
Find the slope.
And how do I do that. You're right. How do I do that?
1 minus y over 26, so 6 minus -1 over 3 minus -4.
Oh, and that works out great, doesn't it? Because that's 7 over 7, which is 1. All right, Althea, what happens next? So I use my form y equals mx plus b, and I pick one of my points. I'll pick this one. It makes no difference. You'll get the same answer no matter what. Pick a point. Make sure you're putting the x and the y in the right spot. So 6 equals 1 times 3 plus b. And 6 equals 3 plus b, so b equals 3. And don't get so excited you forget to write your answer. Your answer is y equals 1x plus 3. And you can either write 1x or just plain x plus 3. Marley's bored out of her mind. She says, Miss Ford, we've done this. And she's right, we have. Look at the next section. You and I have not done this. You did it last year. Do you remember? We have talked about it in terms of graphing our functions. This is a squaring function. Tell me about it. Where's its vertex? How has this been moved? Think about your regular squaring function that looks like this, right? But this one's been moved. How has it been moved? Up 4 and right 3. So this point, instead of being at the origin, is right 3 and up 4. So that is the point 3, 4. Would you agree with that? Now, when we talk about the axis of symmetry, you know what we're talking about? Here's my parabola. There it is at the point 3, 4. Does anybody know what we're referring to when we say axis of symmetry? Exactly in the middle, right? Fold your paper. Think about folding your paper. The crease would be right here. That's called the axis of symmetry. What is the equation of that line?
X equals 3.
Very good. X equals 3. Does it make sense to you that the axis of symmetry will always go through the vertex? So whatever your x coordinate is going to be your axis of symmetry. Now, DO stands for direction of opening, and with a parabola, you have two choices. It either opens up or down. Normally, they open up, right? How do we turn them upside down? What do we have to do? You have to have a negative out here, right? So if there's no negative, the direction of opening is automatically going to be up. That's the normal thing, is to open up. All right, now try B. See if you can fill in B on your paper right now. You got an equation, looks a little different, but see if you can fill in the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening for B. Feel confident about what you put down for B? Well, gosh, guys, you should feel confident. What have you done to your equation here? Moved it to the left 1. So So where's its vertex if you moved it to the left one? -1, comma 0. So if that's what you put, you're right. You got it. It went to the left 1 unit. That's what x plus 1 in parentheses does. It moves you 1 unit to the left. Rules haven't changed. Everything's the same. Now, which direction is it opening? Up, because there's no negative, right? So it's opening up. Now, what about the axis of symmetry?
X equals negative.
If you said x equals -1, you're right. Think about it. The vertex is right here at -1, 0. There's your parabola. Here's your axis of symmetry.
Is the asymptote always going to be opposite of like the number seconds?
Yes, but it's not an asymptote. It's the axis of symmetry. Yes, the axis of symmetry. Yep, just like the vertex will always be opposite. These two numbers will always match. All right, what about C? Anybody want to take a stab at C? 0, comma 4, Quincy says for the vertex. Now, those of you, he's right. Those of you that are wondering about that, is there anything added or subtracted to the x? So it didn't move sideways. But there is a +4 here, which means it went up 4. So our vertex is at 0, comma 4. Which way is it open? Down. That one's got a negative, so it opens down. What's its axis of symmetry? X equals 0. Now, if you just put 0, you're losing half credit. It's a line, x equals 0. All right, how about D? I think you're getting the hang of this, or at least I hope you are. What's my vertex? 1, -2. Now, why is it 1, -2? Because this tells me to go right 1 and down 2. What's my axis then? X equals 1. Remember, it's always x equals the x number. And what's my direction of opening? Perfect. Uh-oh, on E, it looks tricky because it's so simple. This is your BFF. Where's the vertex? 0, 0. You haven't moved it. So what's your axis of symmetry? X equals 0. And your direction of opening? There we go. That's easy. One more, and then they're going to get a little bit more challenging. What about that last one? Vertex is at 2, 1. Everybody okay with that? Right 2 up 1?
Yep.
Morgan, you paying attention, sweetheart? Okay. Axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and direction of opening is up. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here for a second and ask a very important question. When you walk in here tomorrow, and we have class tomorrow, when you walk in here tomorrow, I'm going to have a quiz for you. Are you going to be ready for it? There's 2 kinds of problems on the quiz. All right? Here are the 2 kinds of problems on the quiz. I'm going to give you 2 things like this. F of 1 equals 7 and F of 2 equals 3. And I'm going to say, write the equation of the linear function. So what do? We think of these as ordered pairs, right? We find the slope, and then do y equals mx plus b. All right? One question on the quiz, just like that. Another question on the quiz, I'm going to give you an equation like this. And I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. You want to be able to do that? So everybody's clear on that. Deshaun.
I won't be here tomorrow.
What?
I won't be here tomorrow.
Well, then you can either, you won't be at school at all tomorrow. Well, you can either, well, why don't we just take it Monday morning then?
I won't be here next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
I don't even want to know why. But yes, I do. Why are you missing a week?
I don't know, my mom just said that we're going I don't know. We're going to visit family. She just told me.
Where are you going?
Texas.
Well, I guess if you're going to Texas, you want to stay a few days. Okay, honey child. I need you to stop by immediately after school. I got something going on, so immediately after school, I'll give you a little quiz.
Okay.
And because you're going to have a ton of other stuff to make up when you get back, so we'll get this one cranked out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, that's what's on the quiz. Okay? That is the quiz. Now, the next part is going to take us a little bit of effort, and it's a little bit trickier.
Yes.
We do not have a whole lot of time. This is not on tomorrow's quiz, but you have to start getting it figured out. Okay? So here we go. The question is the same as it was a minute ago. It says find the vertex, axis of symmetry, direction of opening. The problem is the equation does not look right. I mean, it's not put together right. Because in order to be able to tell this stuff, my equation has to look something like this, right? If it looks like this, I know exactly where the vertex is. Left 1 and down 4. So if I'm going to be able to do the problem, I need to be able to take this equation and make it look like that one. And that's going to involve completing the square, because I have to have a squared thing. All right, so here we go. Here's my equation. Step 1. See this 2 right here? Move it to the other side. So y minus 2 equals x squared minus 2x. That's easy. Now we're going to complete the square. That means I am going to add something to both sides of my equation. I'm going to add something to both sides of my equation. Now, does anybody remember how we find the number we add when we complete the square? Well, at some point I may do that, but right now, how do I get that number? It's half of this, so I'm going to take half of negative 2, and then I'm going to square it. So I take half of this number and square it. So what's half of negative 2? Negative 1. And negative 1 squared is 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Now let me go through that arithmetic with you again one more time. Whatever this term is, the b term, we take half of it. So half of negative 2 is negative 1. And then we square that number. So negative 1 squared is 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Now, this side then, when I do my arithmetic, I get y minus 1, because those two added make a minus 1. And this side right here is a perfect square trinomial. If you factored that, both parentheses would be the same. What would the parentheses be if you factored that? X minus 1. This sign will always match that sign. If that helps you, it's x minus 1 squared. Now I'm going to add my 1 back over so that y is by itself. Right, x minus 1 squared plus 1. Added this 1 back over to the other side. Now, can you tell me where my vertex is? If you said 1, 1, you're right. We went right 1 and up 1, which means my axis of symmetry is x equals 1, and my direction of opening is up because there's kind of an understood 1 right there that's positive. Okay, and with that, I think I'll just shut up for the day. Let me check my time just to make sure I'm good. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. We'll start with our little quiz and then we'll pick up right here and do some more of this, okay? I'm going to do something next period. But if you have resources, all right, if you want